Imagine a world where you can instantly access satellite data from any spot on Earth, in real time, at lightning-fast speeds that even rival or outperform the best fiber-optic connections. Now imagine this isn't some far-off science fiction dream, but a reality hurtling towards us at breakneck speed. That's the bold ambition of a pioneering French startup that's shaking up the entire global space industry, and the change is happening right now. Over the past couple of years, Europe's space sector has experienced nothing short of a renaissance. For decades, Europe, and France in particular, was considered a step or two behind the United States and China in the great space race. But that perception is quickly becoming outdated. Thanks to a surge in both public and private investment, France is leaping to the forefront of space innovation. A recent report by the European Space Policy Institute highlights that French space ventures attracted a staggering €1.5 billion in venture funding last year alone. This represents a remarkable jump of more than 56% compared to the previous year, making France the uncontested leader in European space investment. At the heart of this transformation is Skynopy, a dynamic startup based in Paris. Despite being just 18 months old, Skynopy has already secured nearly $18 million in funding, a testament to the immense excitement and high stakes involved. Their investors include the French space agency CNES, heavyweight European venture capital funds such as Alvin Capital, and a host of strategic industry partners. But what exactly is Skynopy doing to command such global attention? To understand Skynopy's disruptive potential, let's step back and look at the traditional model. For decades, satellite ground stations, the massive, complex antenna arrays needed to communicate with satellites orbiting hundreds or thousands of kilometers above our heads, have been the exclusive domain of deep-pocketed governments and a handful of large corporations. Constructing a single ground station often required investments running into many millions, and even then, operators had to lease precious antenna time at steep rates. This system not only kept smaller players and startups at bay, but it also led to massive inefficiencies. Antennas often sat idle for hours, while vital data was left waiting in orbit, unable to reach the people who needed it most. For newcomers, entering this space was like trying to join the broadband internet era with nothing but dial-up, while established giants enjoyed the luxury of ultra-fast fiber connections. Skynopy's vision is to turn this outdated model upside down. Their goal? To make ground stations as accessible and flexible as cloud computing made data storage and processing. At the core of their innovation is a groundbreaking technology, a device that's been likened to a SIM card for satellites. Far from just a catchy metaphor, Skynopy's onboard radio pre-configuration and integration system enables any satellite, whether already in orbit or still awaiting launch, to connect quickly and seamlessly to a growing constellation of high-speed, software-defined ground stations. No expensive retrofitting, no months of integration delays. With just a few technical tweaks, even legacy satellites can plug into Skynopy's network almost effortlessly. As Skynopy CEO Pierre Bertrand puts it, a car is a game changer, real-time capability for satellites to download and send commands at data rates matching the fastest optical and laser technologies. To put that in perspective, we're talking about data transfer rates reaching up to 10 gigabits per second. That's on par with the world's best fiber-optic networks, and a monumental leap over the sluggish speeds that have long plagued satellite data delivery. Skynopy's ambitions don't stop there. The company is working to roll out a unified global ground station network, dubbed a CAR, with a target of deploying over 100 antennas across every continent within just 3 years. This ambitious goal is closely linked to France's visionary France 2030 initiative, a €54 billion national investment plan launched in the year 2021. This initiative aims to supercharge innovation in strategic sectors ranging from space and artificial intelligence to green energy and next-generation manufacturing. By leveraging these resources, Skynopy is positioning France not just as a European leader, but as a true challenger to American and Chinese dominance in the skies. Why does any of this matter? Because in today's hyper-connected world, the real bottleneck for satellite data is no longer in space, but right here on the ground. The hunger for satellite connectivity is exploding, driven by a dizzying range of applications, from climate and environmental monitoring to disaster response, global communications, precision agriculture, autonomous vehicles, and secure military operations. The sheer volume of data generated by satellites is expanding at an unprecedented rate. Some estimates suggest that global satellite data traffic could multiply more than tenfold within the coming decade. Yet, the ground infrastructure needed to bring this data down, process it, and make it available in real time is struggling to keep up. Skynopy's vision is to democratize access to ground stations, lowering the barriers for a new generation of satellite operators, researchers, startups, and even governments in developing nations. Envision a future where a small startup in Nairobi or Sao Paulo can launch a satellite and connect to a global network of ground stations as easily as spinning up a virtual server on the cloud today. That's the world Skynopy is working to create. French President Emmanuel Macron has been especially vocal about the need for Europe to invest heavily in this sector. In a recent speech, President Macron declared, "Europe cannot afford to fall behind the United States and China in the new space race." This sense of urgency is echoed by venture capitalists like Alvin Capital, who note, Skynopy's innovative approach to ground station access perfectly aligns with our investment strategy in disruptive technologies. Even the French space agency, CNES, has thrown its support behind Skynopy, calling its backing part of a broader mission to foster innovation and competitiveness in the French space industry. There's also the fierce global competition to consider. In the United States, SpaceX is rapidly expanding its Starlink ground infrastructure, while Amazon is building out its Kuiper network with similar ambitions. China, for its part, has announced multi-billion euro investments in ground segments to complement its growing satellite constellations. For France, and Europe as a whole, this is a high-stakes race to remain relevant in the new era of satellite communications. As one analyst from the European Space Policy Institute observed, mixed public-private funding rounds are driving growth in European space ventures, but global rivals are moving fast. Cybersecurity poses perhaps the gravest challenge of all. As ground station networks become more open, dynamic, and distributed, the attack surface for hackers, cybercriminals, and even state-backed actors expands dramatically. Skynopy's cloud-like architecture, with real-time switching and multiple access points, must be armored with military-grade encryption, continuous monitoring, and rapid response protocols to guard against data breaches, industrial espionage, and even sabotage. The stakes here are not just financial. Compromised satellite communications could threaten critical infrastructure, national security, and even human lives. The implications of Skynopy's vision are vast. Satellite communications form the unseen backbone of modern society. They power everything from GPS navigation and international banking to weather forecasting, emergency rescue missions, and the global internet. If Skynopy and France succeed in their mission, the result could be a more open, innovative, and competitive market, one where startups, researchers, and even small nations can participate on equal terms. Lower prices, faster data delivery, and new applications could spark a wave of technological progress that reaches every corner of the world. But what are the possible futures for Skynopy and the satellite ground station market? Let's explore a few scenarios. Scenario 1. Skynopy successfully scales its ACAR network to over 100 antennas within 3 years. By delivering real-time, on-demand connectivity at speeds that rival fiber optics, they set a new benchmark for the industry. Satellite operators flock to the platform, drawn by flexible pricing and plug-and-play integration. The result? A flourishing ecosystem of applications. Imagine instant disaster response, ultra-precise environmental monitoring, or global networks of Internet of Things devices, powered by affordable, high-speed access to satellite data. The ripple effects could transform agriculture, logistics, urban planning, and even education as previously underserved regions connect to the digital world. Scenario 2. Technical and operational challenges slow Skynopy's rollout. Integrating more than 100 antennas proves more complex than anticipated, with software bugs, signal conflicts, or regulatory snags emerging along the way. Competitors sense opportunity and double down on their own efforts. SpaceX and Amazon accelerate their ground segment deployments, while China leverages state support to roll out its own unified networks. In this world, Skynopy risks being squeezed between deep-pocketed rivals and the relentless pace of innovation. Scenario 3. Security breaches or cyber attacks reveal vulnerabilities in Skynopy's open cloud-like architecture. Sensitive satellite data is compromised, eroding customer trust and attracting regulatory scrutiny. The company is forced to invest heavily in new security measures, which slows growth and increases costs. In this scenario, the lesson becomes clear. Innovation must be matched by unwavering attention to security and resilience. The reality will probably land somewhere between these extremes. What's certain is that the satellite ground segment, the crucial but often overlooked plumbing of the space industry, is now in the spotlight. The evolution mirrors the rise of cloud computing at the dawn of the 21st century. Just as Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud democratized access to computing, Skynopy and its peers could do the same for satellite connectivity. The potential is enormous. Standardized interfaces and protocols could slash operational costs by as much as 1/5 to nearly 1/3, while the integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning could automate everything from antenna pointing to data routing, boosting efficiency by up to 1/5. Mobile and deployable ground stations could become essential tools for disaster response, military operations, and scientific expeditions, enabling rapid data access anywhere, anytime. Let's dive a bit deeper into some of these innovations. The use of flat-panel phased array antennas, for example, represents a major technological leap. Unlike traditional parabolic dishes, these antennas are lightweight, compact, and capable of electronic beam steering, meaning they can track multiple satellites simultaneously without mechanical movement. This allows ground stations to be more versatile and cost-effective, expanding access to areas that might have once been considered too remote or too challenging for traditional infrastructure. The result is a more resilient, flexible, and responsive network that can serve a much wider range of customers and applications. Artificial intelligence and machine learning will play increasingly central roles in this transformation. By automating tasks such as antenna pointing, signal processing, and data routing, AI can dramatically improve efficiency and reliability. For instance, an AI-driven network could automatically prioritize emergency communications in the aftermath of a natural disaster, ensuring that critical data reaches first responders without delay. Or it could optimize bandwidth allocation in real time, ensuring that every customer gets the speed and reliability they need when they need it. Historical parallels abound. The telecommunications revolution of the late 20th century was sparked by deregulation and the opening of networks to new players. The result? An explosion of innovation, falling prices, and the birth of the modern internet. The satellite industry, long dominated by a handful of state-backed giants, now stands on the edge of a similar transformation. As barriers fall, we can expect a flowering of new business models, partnerships, and use cases, some of which we can barely imagine today. But with opportunity comes responsibility. As more of our lives, industries, and governments come to depend on satellite data, the risks multiply. Cyber threats, regulatory uncertainty, and escalating geopolitical tensions all loom large. For Skynopy, success will depend not just on technical excellence, but on building trust, forging strategic alliances, and embedding security into every layer of the business. That means continuous investment in cybersecurity, close collaboration with regulators, and transparent communication with customers and partners. There are important lessons here for entrepreneurs, technologists, and policymakers everywhere. First, disruption often comes from unexpected places. A fledgling startup in Paris, equipped with a blend of government support, private capital, and visionary leadership, can challenge the dominance of Silicon Valley or Beijing. Second, targeted government investment can catalyze entire industries, nurture ecosystems, and unlock private sector innovation. The France 2030 initiative and programs like Space Founders, a European accelerator quietly nurturing the next generation of space innovators, are living proof of this principle in action. Third, and perhaps most crucially, as the boundaries between cyberspace, outer space, and the physical world blur, cybersecurity must be regarded as an absolute necessity, not an afterthought. The cost of failure is simply too high to ignore. Can Skynopy overcome the formidable obstacles ahead and truly transform the satellite ground segment? The answer, at least for now, is one of cautious optimism. If the company can continue to innovate at breakneck speed, maintain the trust of its customers and partners, and keep security at the core of its model, the potential rewards are enormous, not just for France or Europe, but for the entire world. President Emmanuel Macron's recent push to double down on space investment is both a signal of strategic intent and a rallying cry. Europe must not settle for second place. The next few years will be decisive. As demand for satellite data continues to soar, the winners will be those who can deliver speed, flexibility, security, and affordability, all at once. Skynopy's bold gamble could pay off by ushering in a reimagined, democratized future for space. Will they succeed? Only time will tell. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, Make sure to hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into the business of technology and the future of global economics. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Where do you think the next big disruption will come from? Share